What is up, friends? Today we're going to talk about She-Ra and the Princesses of Power Season 3. Spoilers for all 3 seasons of She-Ra ahead. You've been warned. Now, I know a lot of people complain that these seasons are short. This one is only 6 episodes. The last one was only 7. And I understand that it's annoying that they're short seasons. But in less than a year, we've gotten 26 episodes of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. And I think that's pretty awesome. And Season 3 is probably my favorite stretch of episodes yet. Season 2 ended with the cliffhanger that Shadow Weaver had gone to Bright Moon to talk to Adora, and the beginning of Season 3 obviously follows this up immediately. Queen Angela and Aunt Casta interrogate Shadow Weaver, but of course she'll only speak with Adora. I really enjoyed these scenes as they highlighted all three's history with King Micah and showcased some top-notch Shadow Weaver shade throwing. Adora sneaks in to speak with Shadow Weaver and uses her She-Ra abilities to heal her fatal illness. Shadow Weaver talking Adora through using the magic of her runestone was a great scene, and I really enjoyed the reluctant team up with Shadow Weaver for the season. She reveals to the rebellion that Hordak has been trying to open portals to bring the full force of the Horde to Etheria from another world. And of course the bombshell that Adora herself came to Etheria through a portal as a baby. This was information we of course learned in Season 2 and were hinted at in Season 1, and you know, if we know the history of the original series, this is something you probably likely knew. Adora confirms this truth with Light Hope and has an existential crisis because of it. I really enjoyed this aspect of Adora's arc. She sought control of her life after learning that so much of her journey has been dictated by destiny, and because of this crisis she decides to go to the Crimson Waste in search of information on Mara. Meanwhile, the Horde is filled with some fascinating developments. Catra continues to get bolder as she talks smack to Hordak in front of the entire Horde, though admittedly she had very little to lose at that point. Little did she know, Entrapta had already convinced Hordak not to punish Catra with a trip to Beast Island, instead sending her to search for the First One's tech in the Crimson Waste. Episode 2 is called Huntara and follows up Adora, Glimmer, and Bow's story as they make their way through the Crimson Waste. Easily one of my favorite parts of this episode was the revelation that a bunch of hard Mad Max-looking animal people live in the Crimson Waste, including the season's best new character, Huntara, who is played by the legend herself, Gina Davis. Seeing Adora fangirl out about Huntara was really entertaining, and I enjoyed their journeys through the Waste. Huntara's betrayal of Adora and the gang wasn't particularly surprising, but it did make for some great Adora redemption. The B story in this episode was another of my favorites of the season as we start to see Entrapta and Hordak develop really close bonds. One of the reasons I absolutely love this series is that they truly give every character moments of empathy, even the villains. Obviously, villains like Catra and Shadow Weaver exist in shades of gray on the hero-villain spectrum, but we were never made to see Hordak this way. We learned that Hordak is just a clone of an even bigger baddie, Horde Prime, and that Hordak was stranded in Etheria, thrown away by Horde Prime. Not unlike how Hordak wrote off Catra. Giving every character these moments of empathy goes a long way. It's confusing but gratifying to feel sad for characters you previously saw as pure evil, and I appreciate that brand of storytelling. Entrapta ends up building a new exoskeleton to compensate for the failures of Hordak's cloned body, and seeing their relationship build was confusingly satisfying. Adora and the crew escape Huntara's pit and catch up with her gang, putting up a great fight. After a fun action sequence, Adora gets her sword back and transforms into She-Ra right in front of Huntara in one of the most satisfying moments of the series. Also, maybe this is just me, but did any of the music cues in this episode sound a little bit like the Avengers theme to anyone else? Hit me up in the comments, I want to know what you think. I loved learning that Huntara was actually a former Horde soldier and that other members of the Horde army deserted after seeing the horrors of their brand of warfare. Huntara agrees to help Adora and brings the crew to the ruins of Mara's ship. Episode 3 is called Once Upon a Time in the Waste, which is a delicious pun. You guys should definitely check out Once Upon a Time in the West. What am I saying? I've never seen that movie, but that's the pun. It features probably my favorite storyline of the season. Catra and Scorpia arrive at the same cantina Adora visited in the previous episode, and she immediately asserts her will over those Mad Max animal people. Seeing Catra just instantly rise to the top of the food chain in the Crimson Waste was outrageously entertaining and satisfying. And let's be honest, that jacket really completes her look. Not to mention the whip. The entire gang chanting Catra's name was probably my favorite part of the episode. We see Adora, Huntara, Glimmer, and Bow try to learn the secrets of Mara's ship, and I really love that stuff. I'm way into anything involving Mara, First Ones, and other worldly mysteries. We learn more about Mara's decision to trap Etheria in Despondos, an attempt to protect the entire planet from the armies of Horde Prime. I hope we get to learn even more about Mara in future seasons. I really enjoyed what we got, but her journey fascinates me, and I want to see more of what Etheria was like before it was stranded. That conflict is really intriguing to me. Mara did the right thing for Etheria despite knowing she would be remembered as a failure. I love that Catra and Adora's arcs once again parallel one another. They're both questioning their sense of self and belonging, their place in the bigger picture. Obviously, since they're completely different people, they handle it incredibly differently. Adora seeks answers and solutions while Catra acts impulsively and with little regard for consequence. And ultimately, Catra's path leads to success while Adora is captured. But despite all of this, Catra's success doesn't bring her lasting joy or peace. I love how they've continued to develop Catra and Scorpia's relationship, and the love Scorpia feels for Catra is just so palpable. Scorpia tries to convince Catra that they should stay in the Crimson Waste where they can do what they want and lead their new gang. Adora reveals to Catra that Shadow Weaver actually went back to Bright Moon and talked to Adora after Shadow Weaver tricked Catra in season 2, and then Catra goes into a full breakdown and decides that her plan is now to open the portal with Adora's sword. Huntara escapes with Glimmer and Bow, but Adora is taken back to the Fright Zone with Catra and her new gang. Moment of Truth is the title of episode 4 and sees Catra's triumphant return to the Fright Zone with Adora in tow. Adora talks some smack to Hordak despite being captured, and ultimately Entrapta discovers how to use the sword to open up a portal to another world. Glimmer and Bow's return to Bright Moon is met with an angry Angela who refuses to act out of fear of losing Glimmer. Instead, Glimmer and Bow seek Shadow Weaver's help to get to the Fright Zone and rescue Adora. Shadow Weaver uses her magic to tap into Bright Moon's runestone and enhance Glimmer's teleportation powers, teleporting the entire Princess Alliance to the Fright Zone in a single blip. Entrapta continues to run tests to determine what might happen if they open a portal to another world, and despite her scientific curiosity, she quickly realizes the results would be catastrophic. The princesses quickly jump into action when they reach the Fright Zone, and I loved the action sequences where Shadow Weaver enhanced Glimmer's abilities. Really fun choreography there. Catra gives an emotional speech to Shadow Weaver, revealing how she's felt in the aftermath of her escape from the Fright Zone, and vows to open the portal, mostly despite Shadow Weaver and Adora. It doesn't really feel like Catra has any true allegiance to anyone. Her actions seem to be fully dictated by her feelings about her personal relationships and place within the Horde. This is further showcased when Entrapta tells Catra how the portal will dismantle time and space itself, but the moment she says Adora was right, Catra stops caring about common sense. She continues her quest to open the portal. She simply wants to win and stop those who she feels have slighted her. She doesn't have any true goal outside of her own satisfaction. The saddest moment comes when Catra incapacitates Entrapta and then threatens Scorpia. Instead of fostering the relationship she has built in the Horde, she throws them aside in her quest for revenge. She eventually opens the portal and we cliffhang until the next episode titled Remember. This was a really fun way to follow up the opening of the portal in the last episode. Basically, we find out that the destruction caused by the portal's opening doesn't restrict itself to physical damage. Time, space, and history is changed by the portal's rift. The episode sees what it would have been like had Adora never left the Horde, until she slowly starts to remember the alternate history we've all watched throughout the series. I enjoyed seeing Adora and Catra as friends again. It was portrayed so well back in the very first episode of the series, and the reminder of how close they were was welcome now that we're 20 plus episodes into the series. The only other person who seems to realize things aren't quite right is Scorpia, which leads to some great moments and something I never knew I wanted, a team up between Adora and Scorpia. The fun of this episode definitely stems from the alternate history and trippy world-breaking sequences that follow. Plus, we got some more Madame Razz action. I really hope we get more Madame Razz in the upcoming seasons, assuming we get more. They really gotta razz it up, baby. It really seems like if Adora wants to learn more about Mara, she should be talking to the person who knew her, Madame Razz. Adora ends up trying to bring Catra with her to find the Sword of Protection, which leads to yet another scene where the two part ways. We've seen this so many times in the show. This played out in a reverse fashion to the season 1 episode Promise, where Catra walks away as Adora hangs from the cliff. This time Catra falls down the cliff. The end of the episode sees Adora realizing she needs to find Bow and Glimmer in order to figure out what's happening to the world. And as the episode ends, we see a spooky, glitchy, corrupted looking Catra emerge from the void. The final episode of the season is called Portals and showcases the first real time we see Glimmer's father, King Micah, as an adult. We also see Glimmer and Angela having a ton of fun playing and get a little taste of what life would have been like for them in Bright Moon before the death of Micah. Adora breaks into Bright Moon to try to find Bow and Glimmer and explain what's happening to the world. She's forced to explain everything to King Micah under a truth spell, and despite knowing that she's telling the truth, they throw Adora in their holding cell, you know, the spare room. Bow and Glimmer eavesdrop on the interrogation and go talk to Adora themselves, and she's quickly able to get through to them. I really love that their friendship shined through the alternate reality so brightly. My favorite moment is when Bow remembers his alternate life and he grabs at the bottom of his shirt where his midriff usually is showing. We also see an incredibly sad goodbye between Angela and Micah as Angela realizes the truth of their situation and that Micah actually isn't real and not really there. Things started to get a little confusing after this. Previously, Adora was navigating the world regularly while it collapsed around her, but at this point the rules of space seem to change even further. As Bow, Glimmer, and Adora fall through the floor, they land in Entrapta's castle. I love that Entrapta already understood that the unstable portal was warping reality. It really just fits that character. She always knows what's going on. Entrapta gives them some vital information about what's happening and some advice before she disappears, and then they continue on to the Crystal Castle where we get our first ever glimpse of Mara in the flesh. I wish we had gotten to see a little bit more Mara, but the glimpse was good. Bow and Glimmer disappear as Adora realizes it's her responsibility to save the world, and she's quickly confronted by the crazy, corrupt Catra. This sequence is one of my favorite in the series, easily. We finally see Adora truly take on Catra, not as She-Ra, but as Adora. She's done begging for Catra's forgiveness and accepts that she's been doing the right thing all along, knocking her right in the teeth in the process. Really satisfying punch right there. Angela shows up to help Adora tame the unstable portal. Adora plans to remove the sword from the portal and stay behind on the other side, but Angela actually takes her place. We're made to believe that Angela perishes in this moment, but I definitely think we're going to see her again when Etheria is eventually freed from Despondos. But for now, that means Glimmer is the Queen of Brightmoon. Reality repairs itself and She-Ra destroys the portal as Catra leads Hordak from the Fright Zone. For the first time I can remember, Catra looks genuinely frightened by She-Ra and Adora. It was tough to see Adora break the news about Angela to Glimmer. It was a genuinely sad moment of true friendship. And of course, we're left with our season cliffhanger, the reveal of Horde Prime outside of Despondos, and the revelation that the unstable portal has revealed Hordak's location to his big brother, Papa Horde Prime. And what a strong season! Like I said earlier, this is probably my favorite stretch of episodes of the entire series, and it still left us with so many possibilities for the future. Future seasons of the series have not been announced yet, but it would be a real bummer if the entire thing ended with the Horde Prime reveal. I know the rights are still up in the air, but I'm also eager to see if they do any future hints at He-Man or any further references to Eternia. The show has been really strong on its own and proven that you don't need He-Man to build a world around She-Ra, but getting to the root of She-Ra's past has got to come up at some point in the series, and I would really like to see how they adapt the whole twin scenario with Prince Adam. I'm also really stoked to see and learn more about Mara and the event that led to Etheria's banishment into Despondos. The slow burn has been really effective and we learned really cool tidbits here and there, but I mostly want to see a full-on flashback episode showing Mara's sacrifice. There's still plenty we have to learn about Etheria itself, more princesses to meet, runestones to discover. The show has so many places it can still go. We're 26 episodes deep and it really feels like the sky is the limit. Like I said, we still haven't even heard if there will be any future episodes, so definitely make it known that you love the show. Talk about it, tweet about it, watch it over and over. Just let everyone know that it's great. And hopefully we'll get seasons 4, 5, 6, 7 until they want to end the show. I think we have a good chance to see more, but you never know. After Tuca and Birdie was canceled, I don't really trust Netflix, so we'll find out. So now I want to hear from you folks. Did you like She-Ra Season 3? What was your favorite part? And what are you most hoping to see out of future episodes of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power? Please let me know below in the comments. And as always, if you like this video, remember to comment, like, share, and subscribe. And I'll catch you folks next time. Peace.
Johnny to Cellos!